Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Scout Tactical channel. I'm happy to say the Scout Tactical channel because, as you know, hope it didn't confuse anybody, we launched a new channel this week, the Scout Prepper channel. Just wanted to separate some of the emergency preparedness, disaster prep type videos that I was doing from the tactical stuff, because the gun guys and the prepper guys not necessarily the same viewers. So hope you enjoy the new Scout Tactical channel in its pure form with the gear like you've been seeing. And check out Scout Prepper. I'd appreciate the subscription. So tonight we're doing a kind of an anomaly pistol. And the reason I'm showing it to you is because in today's crappy economy, this is a great buy. A very affordable pistol. It's called the SW99. It's made by Smith Wesson. And there's a caveat. It's not really made by Smith Wesson. It's not around anymore. Brand new. But there are tons of them on the used or surplus market. Lots of police agencies adopted this gun. This is the predecessor to the current Smith & Wesson M&P. Here's kind of how it came about, and I'm sure true gun historians will know a little more than me, but if you've ever been around guns, you recognize the form factor, the shape of this gun to be a Walther P99. Of course, you know Walther probably from the PPK, PPKS that James Bond had, things like that. So this gun looks just like a $700 Walther P99. As you know, Smith & Wesson bought Walther several years ago and actually started importing for them first, and now they are the sole importer. They also own the majority of them now, so they started bringing in P99s. But it was better or cheaper if they assembled them all here. So here's what you have. This is an early SW99. This is a later SW99. Let me show you. If you can see, Smith & Wesson, Springfield, Massachusetts. Walther. Strange. Flip the gun over. What do you got? Carl Walther with the little Germany. And then made in Germany. Frame made in Germany. So this is an early one. And it is, for all intents and purposes, a P99. The frame says Carl Walther made in Germany. The slide says Walther made in Germany. And they just put it all together. Put the frame rails in there, put it together in America back in the day. So, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking mid-90s, late 90s, early 2000s. M&P has been out for a while, and this was just before the M&P. They generally have a great feeling grip, an interchangeable back strap. Now, where have we seen this? Of course, the M&P has it, now the Gen 4 Glocks have it, but in my opinion, the SW99 / the Walther P99 was one of the first guns to have it. Now, I mentioned great value. This gun happens to be in .40 caliber. It's a full-size 4-inch gun. It is a great value because right now you're finding a lot of these on the market at $375 to $450 range. That's less than a Glock, less than an M&P, less than most Springfield XDMs, and less than right at the XD price. XD is going about what, $450, $499 right now. So this is a great gun. Normally, not a lot of rounds through them, and it features a Walther special on both of mine, the optional adjustable sights, which aren't very common anymore. You know, today everything's fixed. Both of mine have fixed night sights. It has a cocking indicator. I just cocked the gun. Can you see the red right there? That's a cocking indicator. You've seen that before. Springfield XDs, right? This was the predecessor. This gun was one of the first to do that, and there are others. It has a decocker button. Now, one difference in this button versus the button that was on the Walther P99s, the actually labeled Walther P99s, is the Walther button was longer. This is a smaller button, as you can see, but you push it down, the cocker's gone, the cocking indicator. Now you've got a round in the chamber, which of course we don't, but you've got a round in the chamber in theory. It's decocked, and if you pull the trigger, nothing happens. So what you would have to do is just bump cock the gun just a little bit, and it's recocked and you're good to go. So this was how a lot of people like to ride with it in their vehicle or what have you. They grab it, it's ready, they bump it. You don't have to chamber one, you just bump it, it's recocked, you're good to go. The P99s and the SW99s had a real unique mag release. You know, normally it's a button for your thumb. This has paddles. And on the P99, another big difference was it had long paddles that you can hit these. You see it's ambidextrous. You can hit it with your thumb or your shooting finger, whichever your grip prefers. Now everybody's able to reach the trigger, but not everybody is able to reach the mag release button because of their hand size. So cool deal. H&K also has a vertical drop, is you just push this and the mag comes out. These came from the factory with 12 round mags, and of course there are limited 10 round mags if you live in a terrible gun state. So 12 rounder. Now in 40 cal, that's not that great in today's world, but back then, mid 90s, late 90s, it was great. So 12 rounds is no big deal. That's still plenty of firepower. I compare this to a Glock 23 in size. They're both 4-inch barrels, and the Glock 23 is holding 13. This one's holding 12, so it's 1 round less. It's not the end of the world, but it is a marked difference. Okay, the slide drop is also huge on the SW99 Walther P99 platform, and that makes it easy for a lot of people to hit. If you look at the M&P or you look at the Glock, those are tiny little buttons, especially on the Glock, super tiny. This solves that. It's so big that it's easy to drop the slide. It has night sights, it has adjustable sights, it has the drop that's ambidextrous for the mag release is ambidextrous, and it has interchangeable back straps. Now if you weren't looking at the gun and you were just listening to the features that I gave you, you'd think that's a pretty full featured package. So even though this gun is 10 years old, it's well worth the money. Features all the stuff that everybody's looking for today, and it has a good trigger. Now, there are different variations because they came in 940 and 45. The 45 is a longer handle gun and a little bit longer slide. I've only seen one ever in all my gun dealings when I had my gun store. But both of mine are in 40 because as a police officer, I carry 40 on duty. My department has 40, so I can practice a little bit with this gun because I do carry one as a backup in a bag when I was a patrolman. I'm a detective now, but this is a good gun as a spare because again it costs less. Plus used, it's a little dinged up, you see a little bit of wear on it, so it's not going to hurt it if it's riding around. So I have mine in 40, and the later generations you'll see if I can show you this. Okay, notice some things. First, on the markings that we talked about on the later generation, it says Smith Wesson right here and it says Walther. Okay, similar to the old ones, except the old one was painted on. This is actually engraved. Flip it over. Nothing. It doesn't say Walther made in Germany at all. And it just says frame made in Germany, where the other one said Walther made in Germany. So of course, it's a little different on the markings, but not the end of the world. One cool thing is, if you'll notice, the old ones had real fine serrations for cocking the slide, grasping the slide. This newer generation has bigger serrations, which are farther apart, and to me, easier to grab. This is kind of a little bit rough, but it's also a smaller patch. This is a bigger patch, and nothing here, but you'll notice the new ones have the front cocking serrations. Now, I want to warn you on that, especially if you're new to guns, but I've seen veterans do it as well. And I mean veteran gun owners, not veteran military. So remember that if you're putting your hand up here habitually, and that's how you're training when you're wanting to cock your firearm, there's that big button, by the way, from the Walthers versus the little buttons. See, this one has the big one carried over. So, and I like the big one. But remember that if you're putting your hand up here, where's the gun? Well, the muzzle's pointing at your hand. I don't advocate front cocking of any gun, because you're putting your hand, in a lot of cases, in front of the muzzle. Unless you come underneath and do it when and you have no leverage. Unless you come over and you do it, but then you've swept the muzzle. Unless you come forward, it's just goofy. Realistically, if this weapon is pointed downrange and you use a rear cocking or you use an over the top, right, like that, to cock the weapon, you're good to go because you never went in front of the muzzle. Right, one of the golden rules of firearm safety, if you'll remember, never point the gun at anything you did not intend to destroy. Y'all remember that? I hope so. So for safety, it does have the front cocking serrations. Those are cool, but again, I don't advocate that when you're shooting. 12 rounds, and guess what? On a gun that's no longer made or a surplus gun, guess what else you can get? Ta-da! Magazines. Each one of these came with 2, but I found 6 more for $12 each at a gun show. So awesome. Now I've got 6 additional mags. It didn't cost an arm and a leg. $12 each. You got to remember today's M&P or Glock mags are running 40 bucks. Sometimes $30, but generally $40, $45. FN mags are $50. So to find mags at $12, awesome. cost savings. And I'm not saying that everybody's on a limited budget, but I know I am, and I know a lot of people are. So anytime in my shooting stuff that I can find a discount, I'll take it. The gun shoots great. If you're wondering, the grip angle is steeper than the M&P, steeper than the Glock. It actually fits in your hand real good. I sold these for years at the gun store that I used to own, and I can't tell you how many times everybody picks up this gun and the very first thing they say, man, that feels good. Because it does. I don't know why. It's hard to explain and it's hard to convey on video, but I'm telling you, you hold one of these, it points naturally, it feels great, and because of that angle, as it shoots, it doesn't flip as much, it comes straight back in. So the recoil is tamed, and I've seen a lot of shooters who have an easier time shooting this 40 that may have been considering 9mm, but now because of the better grip and grip angle, they can shoot a 40. And a 40 is not that big a deal, guys. With 155 grain stuff, or even bigger 180 grain loads, it's very shootable. These are some Winchester hollow points. Okay, so what do you have here? You have a full-size gun. The weight's good to go, 25.5 to 27.5, depending on what old catalog you find, ounces. It weighs about 2 ounces more than the Glock, and it weighs, I think, 1.5 ounces more than the M&P, so it's right there in the ballpark. Doesn't have anything crazy like goofy safeties or a strange battery of arms to learn. Everything's real normal. Your mag drop is vertical instead of a push button, but you pick that up real quick, I assure you. I haven't seen anybody struggle with that, really. Takedown is right here. It's just 2 levers to pull down, like the Walther P22. Sights are great. Both of mine are adjustable knife sights. They made several variations, and it has the interchangeable back strap. So it's a full size. It's a 40 caliber. It's a 4-inch, so it's a mid-size. And this is a great gun. If you're looking for an affordable gun, a practice gun, a truck gun, a prepper gun, something like that, I strongly recommend you check out the SW99. You can get the Walther P99 if you like. They even came in tan frame, which I loved. But again, $650, $750, totally different ballpark of gun price. So, okay guys, also on the table, everybody always wants to know, tonight, I've not shown this to you, but I have mentioned them. This is the Streamlight PT2AA. And now they're called the ProTac 2AA. So an excellent little light, runs off of 2AA, super bright, multiple modes of brightness and a strobe. Super thin, as you see, with it's all metal. It has a strike bezel, and it has a clip for your pocket. So an excellent carry light. Plus AA, easy to find batteries for or replace. And it's super thin. It's thinner than a CR123. Okay guys, that's the review for tonight. I appreciate you watching as always. Remember to check us out online at scouttactical.com, and on YouTube check out the Scout Tactical channel. Subscribe if you like it, and the new Scout Prepper channel. Thanks for watching.